Many of President Trump's White House staff also recognized that the evidence did not support the claims President Trump was making. This is the president's daughter commenting on Bill Barr's statement that the department found no fraud sufficient to overturn the election.
How did that affect your perspective about the election when Attorney General Barr made that statement?
It affected my perspective. I respect Attorney General Barr. So I accepted what he was saying.
Based on his investigation, based on everything he has provided to me, I've made the decision to charge Christopher Schur with one count of second-degree murder. Second-degree murder is a felony offense. It is punishable by up to life in prison with the possibility of parole. As it stands now, this is merely an allegation, and as with any defendant, he is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. The elements of second-degree murder are relatively simple. First, there was a death done by the defendant. And then when the killing occurred, the defendant had one of these three states of mind: an intent to kill, an intent to do great bodily harm, or the intent to do an act that the natural tendency of that act would be to cause death or great bodily harm. And finally, that the death was not justified or excused, for example, by self-defense. Taking a look at everything that I reviewed in this case, I believe there's a sufficient basis to proceed on a single count of second-degree murder, and that charge has been filed with the courts as of today.
Following the current crisis in Ukraine and the Russian invasion in Ukraine, there has been, I would say, an increased use of missiles, of fighters, of UAVs at the border, close to the border to NATO territories. So it increases the risk and the threat from an air and missile standpoint. It is for us really important, more than ever, that we are able to train and to get this capacity growing in these current circumstances. It is a clear message, or clear expression of NATO commitment to readiness.
So they can load those shoots up with, they can have LMM.
The PGA Tour has suspended 17 golfers, including fan favorite Phil Mickelson, for joining the controversial LIV Invitational Series. Mickelson teed off at the Saudi-backed competition on Thursday. With $25 million up for grabs, it's the most lucrative tournament in the sport's history. In a letter to members, PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan accused LIV participants of turning their backs on the U.S.-based circuit for financial-based reasons. Their suspensions are indefinite. LIV Golf knocked the move as vindictive and said it deepens the divide between the tour and its members. Mickelson stayed mum on the issue, while former Masters champion Sergio Garcia said he wasn't fazed.
Any PGA Tour matters I'm not going to discuss publicly at this time.
It doesn't bother me. I'm very happy where I am, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this tour. I thought that today was a great day to start, and that's where I'm going to focus. Like I said, I resigned a week and a half ago, so whatever the PGA Tour says doesn't go with me because I'm not a member.
The developments come amid a bitter power struggle rocking golf's foundations. The money on offer from LIV has lured some of golf's biggest names away from the established PGA Tour. Speaking earlier in the week, Northern Irish golfer Graham McDowell defended his participation.
It'd be crazy to walk away from that as a businessman,
But the breakaway series is bankrolled by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, which critics say is an attempt to burnish the country's reputation in light of human rights concerns through so-called sports washing. The competition takes place during the PGA's Canadian Open. It's one of the world's most established golf tournaments, but offers a far smaller prize of $8.7 million. Rory McIlroy is hoping to defend his title there and accuse the LIV golfers as being turned by boatloads of cash. After London, the LIV Series has 4 events in the U.S., 1 in Thailand, and 1 in Saudi Arabia before a team finale at Donald Trump's course in Miami.
A day after an armed man was arrested near Brett Kavanaugh's home and charged with plotting to kill the Supreme Court justice, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the U.S. House of Representatives will consider legislation next week to boost security for members of the High Court.
Well, the justices are protected, as you all know. We were awaiting language from the Senate so that we could be completely up to date as to what they wanted to do. That's in the works. We had hoped that we could do it today, but we certainly will do it at the beginning of next week.
According to an affidavit signed by an FBI agent, 26-year-old Nicholas Roski was carrying a handgun he had purchased to kill Kavanaugh, as well as ammunition, a crowbar, pepper spray, and other items. Authorities say he was upset over expected rulings on abortion access and gun rights. In May, senators unanimously passed legislation to enhance security for justices and passed it along to the House after the publication of a leaked draft opinion indicating the court was poised to overturn its landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade ruling that legalized abortion nationwide. As protests erupted around the country, the U.S. Justice Department began providing increased security at the justices' homes, with the U.S. Marshals Service providing manpower around the clock.
So this kind of behavior is obviously behavior that we will not tolerate.
On Wednesday, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland vowed to crack down on any attempts at violence or intimidation.
Threats of violence and actual violence against the justices, of course, strike at the heart of our democracy, and we will do everything we can to prevent them and to hold people who do them accountable.
Bracing for protests, a non-scalable fence was erected around the Supreme Court building. A decision on Roe is expected to come before the end of June.